What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we have a top 10 Danish rock artists, in parentheses, alternative or underground only, for our friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, and man, a guy that knows a lot about all kinds of different music, Slade Said. Thank you, Slade Said. Always appreciate you. Just get it out of the way right now, guys. The music will not be in the video, but check out the Vimeo link below if you want to follow along with me, if you just want to know what I think of the songs. Hang around here. And Slade Said provided almost all of the research for this. I always like to see what the patron has to say. I mean, I don't know any of these artists or any of these songs. So here's what he said. He said, I made a couple of top 10 lists for USA bands specifically, plus all my top 10 for bands have been American bands as well. And then I started working on a list for the UK and Australia. But since there are a lot of famous bands from these areas, I thought it would be more fun to go to a less obvious country. So I decided to make a top 10 for the not so obvious country, Denmark. Denmark actually has a decent underground scene. And then he puts in parentheses, well, it's underground to anyone not living there. The bands included are or were in most cases actually pretty big locally. So this top 10 list is based on Danish rock artists, as I said, alternative, underground only. Let's kick this list off. Number 10, the Sandman, 5 Minutes Past Loneliness from the Sleepyhead album in 1992. Slade Said the Sandman kicks off the list with a good old-fashioned rock song. The Sandman were formed in 1985 in Copenhagen, Denmark. They issued their first album in 1987 and gained a pretty big hit in Denmark with the song House in the Country from their second album, Western Blood, from 1989. They even toured in the US and Canada, playing at legendary venues such as the CBGB's in New York. In 1992, they issued their fourth album, Sleepyhead, from which this single is picked for the list. They still exist to this day and have issued an album as late as in 2019. They appear to have abandoned any thoughts of international success, however, as their last two albums have been sung in their native Danish language. I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Slade Said. 5 Minutes Past Loneliness, the Sandman. I did not have any idea what to expect from this. I really enjoyed it. It started out really slow, and then I knew that building kick would come in, but they still dialed it back. Some great drumming, guitar work, and the vocals were nice. It's 5 minutes past loneliness, a week since dawn, 100 hours since you were here, and life goes on. A broken clock, a spark of time. The moon eclipses the sun, 1,000 days to realize the moment you were gone. So he's lamenting, obviously, that she's gone. Like a week of 7 Sundays, it felt like twice as long. And all of them on one day, your shadow lingered on. Half past eternity, that's when you hear the drums. This is probably not a Beatles shout out, but it just is a Beatles shout out to me because I'm a Beatles guy. Put your faith in yesterday if tomorrow never comes. Maybe they were throwing a little Beatles thing in the middle of there. Play the cards and guess the rhyme. Make it them deal with proper time. Deuce is high and ace is low. Life is fast, but time is slow. Just really enjoyed that one, man. That's a great way to kick off the list. Now we go to the Blue Van, Silly Boy, off the Man Up album in 2008. Slade Said, next up we have the Blue Van, a band formed in the northern parts of Denmark at a very young age. Their inspiration came from bands like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Who. That's pretty good inspiration, right? Their first album was an EP recorded in 2002. They steadily became more famous. In 2008, they issued their third full-length LP, Man Up. The album spawned a number of singles which were used in various commercials and TV series. The title song, Man Up, was used in both Beverly Hills 90210 and CSI NY. There Goes My Love was used by Apple for their first commercial for their iPad, and our pick for this list, Silly Boy, was used by Samsung in one of their commercials. So even though I've never heard of the Blue Van, I guess I've heard some of their songs, and they're probably doing all right financially. Silly Boy, the Blue Van, man, you've definitely at the first part of the song heard the Beatles influence. That guitar riff is infectious, man. I really enjoyed that one. Not a lot to the lyrics, but just the way they're delivered, and like I said, the arrangement's fantastic. I might be wrong, but I might be right. Anyhow, I know I tried. I better leave. I better leave. I better stop. And then everyone's got a bleeding heart. I don't know where or when to start. I better bleed. I better bleed. I better stop. Silly boys, you ran away. You're unemployed. You waste away. Then one of the other verses, you might be wrong because you know I'm right. If you lose your way, you just follow mine. I better leave, I better leave, I better stop. Just an infectious song, right? The chorus just sticks in your head. Now we're up to number 8. You see it below. Kira Skov is how I'm going to say that. It could be Skov, but I think it's Kira Skov. Dusty Kate from the Spirit Tree album in 2021. She used to be the singer in the band Kira and the Kindred Spirits. They disbanded in 2007, and since then she has worked as a solo artist. She's mostly inspired by artists like Nick Cave, PJ Harvey, and Mark Lanegan. In 2021, she issued this album, which was based on collaborations with a number of both Danish and international artists, such as Mark Lanegan, Bonnie Prince Billy, John Parrish, and Bill Callahan. The song picked for this list is a duet featuring Danish singer Mette Lindberg. The song is a tribute to both Dusty Springfield and Kate Bush, which can be heard during the song. Kira Skov and Mette Lindberg on this one. Dusty Kate. Who would have thought that Do Your Kate Bush Thing for Me would be something that you would sing along to, but it is actually very infectious. The instrumentation on this is much more ambient, much more atmospheric than the two previous songs, but really did enjoy it. Not a lot to the song, but just like Dusty Springfield would, tell it like a true narrator, just like a painter, poetry, inventor. But this tale is as rugged as an unpaved road in your old hometown, and no one becomes a warrior, hence a heroine, but nothing can come between us, imprinted within us now. Do your Kate Bush thing for me. So yeah, I did enjoy that one. Definitely different. Now we're up to number 7. You see it below. The Kiss Away Trail. Smother plus evil equals hurt from the Kiss Away Trail in 2007. The Kiss Away Trail is a band from Odense, Denmark, says Slade said. They formed in 2007 and have issued 3 full-length albums, the latest being from 2013. To my knowledge, he says they still exist even if they haven't released any new albums since then. They've been compared to bands like the Flaming Lips, Sonic Youth, Slade says in parentheses there, I don't quite understand and agree with that comparison, to be honest, and Arcade Fire. Got several Arcade Fire up here. The song picked here is from their first full-length album. Let's check it out. Smother plus evil equals hurts from the Kiss Away Trail. Definitely Arcade Fire as far as atmosphere in this song, and almost lyrically a little abstract. It was night and we were spinning, the world stood still, but the night was winning. We still sleep with the night on. We put favorite tracks on repeat. Forget ourselves, we're afraid to admit it in presence of accomplished missions. And when you were, where were you when the light got defeated? A thought less is a thought more needed. We needed you most. They repeat that. Smother plus evil equals hurt. They repeat that 4 times. We stood still. The buildings were spinning. So I don't know, a little abstract. It's like something's gone terribly wrong, and maybe this person that they're looking to for guidance is gone. But it's more about the atmosphere, great vocal performance, and just everything going on. And it really pulls you in from the very start. But I like Arcade Fire a lot, so maybe it hits for me. It might not hit for you, but I thought that was a real good one. Now we're up to number 6 from Cashmere Graceland from The Good Life in 1999. Slade says Cashmere is another band from the Danish capital, Copenhagen. The band was formed in 1991 and released their debut album in 1994. Their sound was clearly inspired by the psychedelic rock of the 60s and the 70s, as well as the grunge scene of the early 90s. They won a number of awards for their third album, this one, The Good Life, such as Danish Album of the Year, and they started touring Europe following this. Their largest international success came with the next album, ZD Lights, although the following album, No Balance Palace from 2005, also did well and included guest appearances by David Bowie and Lou Reed. I wonder how they swung that. For this list, I picked this song, Graceland, from The Good Life. Let's check it out. There you have it, Cashmere Graceland. Really good song. I wished I lived in Graceland, but I only had one day. A postcard from the mainland is all I have today. And then that chorus, 40,000 million. That's a lot of money, boys and girls. And a Rolls Royce engine. Couldn't take me anywhere. Yes, I tried with aspirin and a nice calm weekend, but my heart has left me here. Just, kind of hoping and wishing for something else in your life, but knowing that's not going to happen. And even if it did, it wouldn't make you happy. Like verse 2, I wish I had that skin tan that you were born into. They'd see me as a warm man, just like they're seeing you. And then we get a little change up. The chorus is so pleasant vocally. And then we get this bridge in there. I drown in my drool over all the goodies that they get. I drown in a pool of my own sweat. Total will change tempo-wise and vocal performance-wise. That was the only part of the song I didn't absolutely love, but that part of it wasn't horrible, but really good choice. Man, this has been a strong list. We're to the top 5. I'm already struggling with what's going to be my honorable mentions and fave songs, and we haven't even got to the top 5 yet. That's the mark of a good list. You see it below. We have Shelter Song from Ice Age from the album Seek Shelter in 2021, so just last year. Ice Age was formed in 2008. It was originally a punk rock band. Their style has evolved more into a noise rock band, Slade said, with a good flair for melodies and catchiness. They released their debut EP in 2009, and their debut full-length album, New Brigade, from 2011, was seen as a revival of the Danish punk rock scene and received rave reviews everywhere. They issued their 5th full-length LP in 2021, this one, and that's where this song comes from. It's the opening song. All right. Wow, Shelter Song, Ice Age. Man, this list just keeps tougher and tougher to pick favorites. So, this song is great, man. I thought his voice sounded really good. I thought the soundscape, and it's a broken record, no pun intended on this list. I like this sound, right? And all the songs not necessarily have the same sound, but a similar ambiance to them, that type of sound. And man, I super enjoy that. Starts out, my sign is waiting, rise up until the curve bends over down. They'll entertain you, alleviate the now into its ground. We crash and burn, and then burn. Waters rising, hypnotizing slowly as we flow. Gravitate to unlearn, every meaning soon upheaving. And the chorus, come lay right here beside me. They kick you when you're up. They knock you when you're down. Some shielding from the fighting. They beat you from the left. They hit you from the right. Come lay here beside me. They kick you when you're up. They knock you when you're down. Just great lyricism, and they're really clever stuff. And I think it's really about the earth that's kind of going all downhill, right? And like the first part, I think we kind of distract ourselves from that with technology and stuff. And then verse 2, it starts to get even a little bit worse. We become each other's sedatives, giving shelter to the cloudburst dies down. So then we push into each other. So I'm not going to try to do that. I mean, I don't know his overall idea in writing this song, but that's kind of what I took out of it. But a really, really good song. Now we're up to track number 4. I'm going to say it's Mew. Am I Rye? No. From the Half the World Is Watching Me album in 2000. Slade said dream pop or space rock. Mew is definitely a band that has a pretty unique sound. They're also the biggest band on the list so far outside Denmark for sure. They were formed in 1995 in a suburb of Copenhagen. They released their first album in 1997. This song is off their second album. Am I Rye? No. By Mew. Lyrically, take some unpacking, right? Farah, now that we're here, can you tell me exactly how I should have done? Farah drives with her eyes closed. Do you ever inflict unwanted memories? So something's gone awry here. I know you, and I know it won't take you long to make me smile. Farah, angelic girl, I'll have you know it's you and me potentially. Farah, don't pull the carpet from under me. Indifference is killing me. So maybe it's gone bad with Farah, and now Farah can't really commit. And so the singer's going, well, I mean, I think it could be us potentially. I mean, I'm not committing to it, but don't you pull the carpet. And then the bridge, am I right? Oh my fallacy. Fallacy in my words. Am I right? So she questions him. He replies with even more sarcasm by saying he's not right. I know you, and I know you're not afraid, to say the least. And then that last outro, right? Diamond ring, but you can't find it. Cold as the night. So I think the diamond ring, what is that representative of? I don't know. Is it her love, something that's precious to her innocence? I don't know, but it's a very thought-provoking song and a soundscape of great guitar work followed out by some good keyboard work. Just a lot of different things going on here. So obviously a good choice for number 4. Now we're up to number 3. You see it below. The Ravenettes, the great love sound from the album Chain Gang of Love in 2003. Slade says, another band from Copenhagen, the Ravenettes, was formed in 2001. The band is mostly a duo consisting of male guitarist and singer-songwriter Soon Wagner and female bass player, guitarist, and singer Sharon Fu. The music is heavily 60s inspired. Their first album was a mini album, Whip It On, released in 2002. The band soon caught the attraction from major labels, and so for the full-length debut, this one from 2003, they had signed to major label Columbia. The song I picked here is from that album, and the band was invited to play the song at Late Show with David Letterman. It's also used in a commercial for Kmart. Shout out to Kmart, big store here in the States when I was young. Don't really exist anymore. Let's check it out. That great love sound, the Ravenettes. You definitely hear the 60s inspiration in this thing. Very catchy. Finishes out with a chorus a bunch, which is a very good way of making it catch in your head. But also, a shout out to the way songs were written in the 60s. And basically the song's about, look, man, he really likes this girl and she's not really too much into him. Changing your strut when you know I'm behind you. Changing your ways because you don't know what to do. I only want to tell you how I feel inside. If only you could listen. Try to change your mind. So you already know from the first verse, it's not working out too well. So I walk right up to you and you walk all over me and I ask you what you want. You tell me what you need. He's giving this girl all the control in this relationship. And then he says later on, you can never want me the same way I want you. I'm love tornado struck. I don't know what to do. So so there's some good lyricism there. So it's a really good choice for Slade Head's number 3 Danish artist. Remember, these are, I'll just remind you, I talked about it at the start, but these are artists, not songs. Like, it's a song from the artist, but it's not, this is his third favorite song. It's his third favorite artist. Now we're up to the second favorite artist. We have Sort Soul, Sigamon Blue from Flow My Fire Tear in 1991. Slade said, Sword Soul, translated into Black Sun in English, is the most long-standing band on this list. Formed way back in 1977, when I was a wee 6 years old, as Sods. The band initially started as a punk rock band. In 1983, they changed their name to Sword Soul, and gradually they became more accessible and moved away from their punk roots. Their mainstream breakthrough came in 1999 with the release of this album. Lead singer Steen Jorgensen has sometimes been referred to as the Danish Leonard Cohen. And while it's not that obvious with this song I've chosen here, which is an up-tempo rock song, there are definitely other songs where you can hear why. And he put on here, I'll share with you the side note, Steen also has a duet with Kira Skov on her album Spirit Tree, that album showed up earlier. The number 2 Danish rock artist, remember alternative or underground only, for Slade said, Sword Soul, Sigmund Blue. I like that one. It sounded a lot different, I thought, than most of the other songs on. There's some great lines in here. He talks about when I was a young child, my daddy gave to me the name of Sigmund Blue. He wanted me to grow up so that everything written would in time come true. And I fell, hitting years by chance. And I recall that I walked, just smiling to the stake. I like that. Singing Sha La La. When he was a young child, his heart was on fire. Flowers were growing, nothing knowing could be just the same. And I loved it and I always do. And I recall that I walked, just smiling to the stake. Like, that is just some good stuff. And, you know, I don't even know how I would describe that. Almost a more Depeche Mode type sounding thing to me right there. Not in a bad way, but that one was good. Now we go to number 1. We have Agnes Obel. That's how I'm going to say it. It could be Obel. I surely don't want to mess up the number 1 thing. It's the enunciation is different depending on where you live. So I don't know if it's Obel or Obel, but that is number 1. She's number 1 with Riverside, is what we're going to play from the Philharmonics album in 2010. Slade said Agnes is arguably the least, quote, rock on the list, so I know it's a bit strange to have her top this list. Nonetheless, she does belong here. I will argue, since she is definitely not playing or composing mainstream or contemporary pop music. What she creates is something special, something very much her own, and she deserves every praise she receives, in my opinion. Her influences are said to be as diverse artists and composers such as Roy Orbison, Joni Mitchell, PJ Harvey, Claude Debussy, and Maurice Ravel. It's quite the mix, but when you hear her music, it makes sense. She debuted with her first full-length album, this one, in 2010. and became an instant hit in Denmark, topping the charts, and also came in the top 10 charts of Belgium, France, and the Netherlands. The song picked here, Riverside, was used in the TV series Grey's Anatomy and Revenge, as well as the horror series The Mist. And I do actually have a little bit from Agnes here. She said, Riverside is a song about water. I wrote that whole album next to the River Spree in Berlin. I just came up with the melodic part and felt like it sounded like water. I wanted to write a song about how people can be transformed, and sometimes how when you meet other people who have been through this strange transformation, you can tell. It was a time in my life when I was changing a lot myself, and I wanted to describe that, using water as a border between one world and another. That is some deep stuff, man. Let's check out Numero Uno. Agnes Obel, or Obel? Golly, it's probably Obel. Anyway, Agnes coming in as Slade said's number 1 Danish rock artist, either alternative or indie stuff. I told you what the song was about at the start, or read to you what Agnes said, and you see it throughout the song. It's a very pretty song, very well written. Down by the river, by the boats, where everybody goes to be alone, where you won't see any rising sun. Down to the river, we will run. She says later on, I can tell from your eyes you've never been by the riverside. So in other words, that transformation she was talking about. Down by the water, the river bed, somebody calls you, somebody says, swim with the current, float away, down by the river every day. Go on that change. Oh my God, I see how everything is torn in the river deep, and I don't know why I go the way down by the riverside. So going through that personal transformation. So I thought I thought it was really good. Right, I got to read one more. I walk to the borders on my own, to fall in the water just like a stone, chill to the marrow in them bones. Why do I go here all alone? So a very deep song. Once you really understand what it's about, just so well written. And this is the part where I come to my favorite tracks usually, and I guess I'm going to give you some favorite tracks, but this one's strange, right? Because it's favorite artists. So when I give you the tracks, it doesn't necessarily mean these people would be my favorite artists if I listen to their whole catalog, right? So it's got to go by the songs that Slade said brought. I'm looking at my list here. There's almost the whole list is an honorable mention. So I'll just say, I mean, there wasn't a song on here I didn't like. I really, really like this kind of music. So what are we going for favorites? Let's go the Sandman 5 Minutes Past Loneliness, the pick number 10. And we'll also go Cashmere, Graceland. And we'll go the Ravenettes, The Great Love Sound. We'll go with those, but you really can't go wrong with anything on this list. If you didn't know any of these tunes, like I didn't know any of these tunes, I hope you watched along with the music and really enjoyed it, because, man, that was a very, very good list. One of the favorite ones I've done in quite a while. It's right up there. So thank you. Slade said you always bring great stuff that usually I don't know. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you like to support us anyway, check out the Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen that is about to hit. Also, go check out our Facebook group linked below. Until next time, guys, I will see you.